Hey guys, how are you? I finally made it to campus. It's 3 o'clock. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it to today's lecture, but I was stranded, literally stranded at the airport this morning. But anyway, so with no further ado, I am just recording. I just finished recording a video, so we can go through, or you can go through this week's topics, which you already have on your slides at Canva. Sorry, so we can keep moving forward. We have the great advantage of technology that helps us not to be steady but moving forward. Okay, so this is the video I prepared for you. I hope you can take the most out of it, and we will see each other next week. Okay, thank you guys. I'm just going to present to you today's lesson, today's slides. It's going to be in a really, really brief way because when we're speaking, talking, and discussing about these topics on Classroom, it's a whole different dynamic. The way it happens, for example, if I recorded the slides, the presentation, but I didn't want to skip or to miss this opportunity to rehearse what we've learned so far because right now we have 3 weeks that we haven't seen each other. So it's very important for me to have some concepts updated, that we can remember some essential issues. And also, I have pretty important information I want to share with you. It's a little bit of an experiment. I want to make the sessions into a different way. This part of the next lectures, but I'm gonna keep on moving through the slides so we can see what I'm speaking about. Well, these were questions that I wanted to ask you on Classroom. What did you do on Semantec? How did it go for you? Was it a fun activity? Was it a good learning experience? Maybe we can speak about those things later when we meet on a physical session. And pretty important, I want to assure that we're moving in the same direction towards the topics, towards the modules, towards the general knowledge of the lectures and of the class in particular. So for this week, we had two topics that I wanted to address with you guys. As you have seen, the topics we have in this course are really, really easygoing. They're really easy to understand. They're really easy to exemplify, to work out with activities, to work out with different current examples. So in this case, as you can see on the screen, we have topic 1.5 and topic 2.1. We're changing modules into this session. Okay, guys, so moving on with the proposed activities, I want to set up with you a calendar, an agenda, so we can work towards different topics and different modality into how we're going to take the sessions, at least for this block until Semana Tech number 2 comes, which is in October the 25th. In general, I want to experiment with hybrid sessions because I want to incorporate voices and experience from different experts from different fields through online sessions, through Zoom. It's going to be half of an interview, half of an exposition about what these people have done in the professional and personal maybe ambits. So I think it's gonna add up a real good value into our class, into our different lectures. Let's see how it works. If it does not work as I think it's going to work, we can go back to the traditional lessons without a problem. Really important. Today's date, September the 20th. It was supposed to go on site, but sadly, because of me, we moved into this pre-recorded or recorded session. Maybe the next session I'm going to switch it into an on-site lesson. We're going to meet up in the classroom with the traditional scheme without a problem. And I'm gonna see how I accommodate this calendar, this proposed calendar. So let's see how it works. Okay, we can talk about this through conversations through our in the classroom, through email. We can talk about how you feel because it's really important for you to feel comfortable with this proposed working model. It's not a fact that we're going to use it, but I want to experiment with it. Okay. So, as I explained before, the hybrid sessions, I want to incorporate a panel of experts, different people from different industries with different experience, different ages, different knowledges, so you can get the most out of them. Um, they're mostly women, so I think it's a very good focus, a very good grasp into what intercultural leadership can mean within people from and outside Mexico. I want to incorporate international voices. Uh, let's see how it works. Okay. So, guys, with this slide, I just wanted to rehearse the course approach. It's really important that we don't lose focus on what we're speaking about regarding intercultural leadership. This is sort of our goal, our learning objective, and really important is that it sort of throws a working frame, um, also a theoretical framework, so to speak, so we can understand or grasp intercultural leadership according to this definition. I'm not going to read it. You have this definition since day one from the course. And more importantly, I put these keywords so you can contextualize properly what we can understand about intercultural leadership. Just remembering really quick, we're doing a systematic analysis into the way interculturality is being applied to different fields in different parts of the world with different stakeholders, different actors, and not just the social scene, not just the political scene, but any given cases, such as we've seen before with your phenomenal examples that you have brought all across the different lectures. So moving on, this is actually um, a summary about what we can understand about the topic 1.5, which is called multiculturalism, cross-culturalism, interculturalism, and transculturalism. Um, that's why I wanted to start the presentation or the session asking you this. Do we need so many isms in order to understand the world we live in? I think it's a really interesting question because I don't know if you share my perception, but lately in the last 3 or 4 decades, a lot of names, tags, keywords, terms have appeared into the general academic arena, uh, trying to explain, trying to explain different movements, different ideologies, different ways to do things, methodologies, etc. And in this case, this topic comes really interesting for me because it has a lot of different names, which if we approach them in a separate or in a single way, I don't think they come really neat into giving sense of what these variations of interculturality are, unless we stop and analyze them uh, in a synergic manner. I think that's the best way to do it. So what we're reading here in the screen and in the slides is that having these different interpretations of interculturality can help us manage through the diverse or diversity that implies being a social being, being a productive person in this globalized world, which has to do with a lot of different perspectives, cultures, ways to think, to manage, to negotiate, etc. And remember, as I've told you before in prior sessions, communication is one of the most essential things for getting along in general, but also as it happens to be perceived as a quite simple tool, communication as a tool. In reality is quite complex, and as of today we haven't find a way to deal with how to proper communicate our ideas, and that's why we are immersed into different scenarios, not into the conflict scenarios just, but into different scenarios that don't necessarily work towards getting some goals accomplished. So what I was trying to say with all of this is that maybe it's necessary to have all these definitions, very specific definitions about how interculturality and leadership can be applied into different scenarios, because we live in a quite or in a pretty diverse world. Um, we can go through all the different interpretations of these at least these four terms. But what I wanted to do better is that at the end of the slides I just place this condensed table that I think it sums up really good the way we can understand those or these different cultural approaches. For example, multiculturalism has to do with tolerance and cultural heritage mostly. It's not that cross or trans or inter do not have to do with that, but mainly multiculturalism has to do with those characteristics. And I think it's easier if you can grasp this essential information, uh, so you can, instead of memorizing what's about those different terms, so you can use them in a quite better way. So multiculturalism has to do with tolerance, cultural heritage. Cross-culturalism has to do with cultural sensitivity, adaptation, and getting together different backgrounds from people all over all across the world. Interculturalism has to do with cultural diversity also, and pretty important, with collective identity. Collective identity is quite a unique characteristic that at least this term has, different to all the others. And transculturalism has to do with the interconnection, the emergence in Spanish would be emergencia, but not emergencia or emergence as we usually take this term. It has to do with something that comes up from a different mean or source. So it emerges from something different or something new. That's how we have to understand emergence in this case. And also quite typical of the trans movements in general is that there are not traditional shapes or not traditional ways to approach or think regarding a specific topic. That's why trans movements, trans ideology, trans um, terms have to do with crossing these borders in order to generate something that wasn't there before. Topic 2.1 that has to do with the characteristics of a global leader. If you've read the content in Canvas in our course, you're gonna see that it's quite summarized, quite easy to understand. So in this case, these characteristics of a global leader, for me, the interpretation of this topic is that is a little bit more flexible, because we have quite general information. It's not really specific towards a theoretical framework, towards certain authors. For example, we have this amplitude, which comes really helpful in understanding diversity, because if we try to tag or categorize diversity, we might end up finishing with a paradox, which paradoxes in these cases they're not really helpful. And I think that's why global leader or global leadership, in this case, as is presented in the topic, is really really broad. I just included in here in the slides. They're not in the presentation in Canvas. Two definitions, sorry, of a what a global leader is, and for example, um, key concept that we have key concepts, sorry, that we have to take in count when speaking about global leadership. And I also included a test. You know that I happen to like a lot of tests, questionnaires, so we can measure or we can understand in a more practical way what we're speaking about. I just included in the link a test that you can perform. This is not a validated test. What I mean by non-validated is that it's not academically proof. So do not take it such in a serious way or manner. But I think it's more fun than just reading the theoretical approach to what a global leader is. Okay, guys, and finally, I put the references to where I retrieved the information. You can go and check out these two definitions and the test in the here in the references. And I'm gonna move forward into explaining the activity that we have to do. I think that I can assign teams, but I have to do that in a really, really simple and clear way, so you don't get confused.